Good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
It's
Morning,
Friday,
Salt.
isn't it?
It
Yeah,
is.
good morning, good morning.
So we're getting ready to hit 2 days where nobody can drop any court filings or motions.
What,
Oh my
why?
gosh.
Oh,
I'm
is
I'm
it the
just I'm
weekend?
just saying it's been a busy true crime week, right?
Well,
It's
we're waiting on a bunch to drop in Idaho, so they better come down today. We've been waiting for 2 days. They on the
oh
case
really?
summary. Oh yeah, there's a bunch. Yeah, there's a lot. Motions and limine and all kind of stuff. But they've been on the case summary for 2 days, and we've been anxiously awaiting those new docs. So I'll be
Uh
dug in on docs all weekend if they come through.
nice. And anything that's like really super huge, you're gonna brief us on, right? You're gonna go live and be like, "Hey, y'all need to take a look at this."
Yeah, I'm actually working on something now. That's new, or not new case, but new information on a case we've been following, and I've been talking to another creator and got some things worked out. And I also have talked to another creator and got working them out as a guest. So, I've been busy, and I'm doing some research and all kind of stuff. So, I've been busy.
That's like I saw Bob Motta posted on Twitter, I think last night, and he's like, "This is coming down in this case, and this is coming down in this case, and this is coming down in this case, and this is coming down in this case." And Dizzy just said she's got to cut out because something just came down in the Karen Reed case. So I'm like,
Did they
"Holy
make a
cow!"
oh, probably a decision on the, last hearing, Dizzy? Can you confirm that
Um,
to me?
she said the Commonwealth filed their response to the Karen Reed motion to dismiss. So there's a
Okay,
new
okay,
knockout in that.
thanks. I'll check that out, because 'cause I've been doing the Karen Reed updates, trying to follow the latest on that.
Yeah, and if we can find a copy of that, we might even go over that right now if we can find a copy of it. Or
If
you
it's
can go
on
live
Twitter.
afterwards and do that. Yeah. Uh,
I know where to go look, so I'm going to look.
all right. I'll try and keep the conversation going then while you're looking.
You're good. We're good.
Oh, man. Yeah, and so I've got a part 2 in my series with Kresha, Difficult Research, coming up next Tuesday too. Um, she she and I had a really decent, better than decent, a really good live on Tuesday night regarding Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell and their fringe cult crap and JJ and Tylee, and she shared some personal videos that were very, very moving and touching. So we're going to do a part 2 next Tuesday night. So looking forward to that. But in the meantime, there is so much other stuff to look at. The Gene Hackman case is really
That's
intriguing.
crazy,
It
right?
is. It is.
So I haven't checked this morning's news. I know as of yesterday, they didn't have a cause of death or anything like that, or mention foul play or anything yet. So I don't know what the news as of this morning is.
I don't know that we have any definitive news yet. The only thing we know is that the circumstances were really, really odd. It was out of New Mexico. So I'll play that initial article first, or the initial news story first. It's 3 or 4 minutes long, so we can watch that. But Gene Hackman is one of my favorite actors. I remember him from, first of all, playing Lex Luthor in the Superman with Christopher Reeve series. I
Yeah.
mean, in the late 70s. I mean, he was just like so over the top that, but that's the first time I remember him. But he did a lot of things before that. I don't remember before that what he was in, but um, let's see let's just take a broad view of the story about Gene Hackman. I don't want to do a deep dive because we really don't know a lot of things right now. There's so much we don't know. We do know that it was odd circumstances.
Him, the wife, and the dog, correct?
Duet.
Him, the wife, and the dog.
Right. But there were also 2 dogs that were not unalived in that were on the property.
Mm.
In the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, with investigators now calling those deaths suspicious. You're taking a look at some file video of the couple, and I wanted to share the very latest as Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman was found dead alongside his wife, who was a classical pianist, as well as their dog in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home Wednesday afternoon. Now, a search warrant affidavit obtained by Fox News Digital revealed that Hackman's wife was found decomposed, and I want to
Oh my. So they had been deceased for quite a while.
Mm.
She was partially decomposed. So
And
how long?
nobody, I mean, they don't have like assistants or employees and or family. No one's.
Well, I
It's
think it
weird,
was
isn't
like
it?
a gardener or a maintenance person that is the one that found them. He like went in, the front door was open. So
Odd.
from what I know of the case, the front door was open and the gardener or whoever walked right in the front door. But if they had been deceased for a while, then, you know, maybe some opportunist thief or whatever just like went in the house and like started taking stuff because there was nobody to challenge him. Possibly. I mean, there's so many theories on this.
Yeah.
There's so many theories. We're going to have to get into it when we start learning some of the facts, for sure.
preface this by saying what I'm about to share is disturbing to possibly some of you. She was found decomposing with bloating on her face and mummification in her hands and feet. Hackman was also found to have the same signs of decomposition as his wife.
So decomposition and mummification, are we talking 3 months, 6 months? Like
Wow.
when was the last time that somebody checked in on them?
Exactly. Did they have any children, I wonder? I have no clue. I mean, I know who Gene
I don't
Hackman is.
either.
I watched all of his movies. You know, I know him well, but I'd never dig into the personal lives of celebrities, you know, a lot. So I don't. They've been married for a very long time, like years and years and years. Since the 90s, him and her. So I don't know if they actually had children or not, though.
Pokemon says they had 3 kids. So
Oh, yeah.
how
Well,
are they not checking on them? Like
how are you? Right?
if I don't hear from my dad within, I mean, he's not a texter and a communicator, but
Right.
we text probably once a week. And if I didn't hear from him within a month, I would be
Mhm.
really, really concerned. 3 weeks, probably really concerned. So how long did it take for them to get mummified in New Mexico? That is definitely a very dry climate. So that probably happens faster than somewhere like Florida or Indiana or New York. But still, mummification means that the water part of their body has left them, so they're becoming dehydrated. That's how I would term mummification. And by no means am I an expert or even a half expert. I think we need Brooklyn Pesola in here to tell us about mummification. I don't think she's in here though. No, not wrapped. Just talking about like the hydration level of the bodies. They were super dried out.
Detectives believe that the circumstances surrounding the death of Hackman and his wife are suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation. When 2 Santa Fe County Patrol deputies arrived at the scene, they walked to the front of the residence, and that is when they found the front door slightly open. They did not observe any signs of forced entry into the home. That is according to the warrant. After they entered the residence, they immediately observed a bathroom to the left of the front door. The door of the bathroom was opened, And that is where they discovered the body of Hackman's wife lying on the ground. An orange prescription bottle was also found near her body, and the bottle appeared open with pills scattered on the countertop. Police said that she showed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's not.
I
That's
mean,
not good.
well, we just saw one of my other favorite actors, Matthew Perry, die last year from overdose. But
Mm-hmm.
these two people were a lot older than that. So, I mean, there's obviously like 3 or 4 different possibilities. One of them is they just kind of naturally both passed at the same time and nobody checked on them at the same time. The other one is that there was some type of an unaliving of ourselves type of thing that went on. And then there's foul play. So it's
Or
going to
could
be
they
a
have been
crazy.
sick and they were? She went for the ibuprofen and
Right. Yep.
passed out,
Yep.
or something.
Right. Yeah. Did they have an illness? Was it natural, quote unquote, natural causes? I guess we're all going to be
I had
waiting.
heard. I did hear. Like, I don't even know where. I think maybe I was on Twitter. Something about, was there a? I don't know if it was like they referred to maybe a carbon monoxide type deal, but that doesn't sound like it from what you're reading.
Mm-mm. No, it doesn't sound like it to me either.
Mm-mm.
And I think I did see a news article that explored that and pretty much discounted it as a serious possibility, but it's probably still a quote unquote possibility.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, Forrest. We'll know after the autopsy.
Yeah.
The ME is going to do a tox report. They're going to know the carbon monoxide level or the oxygen level in
Or
their
any amount
bloodstream.
of substances in their
Yes.
system.
Yep.
Obvious signs of death, body decomposition, bloating in her face, and mummification in both hands and feet. A deceased dog was also found near her body in a closet of the bathroom, but 2 healthy dogs were also found on the property, one running loose and the other seen near Hackman's wife's body. The warrant stated that there were, quote, no obvious signs of a gas leak, and that was an earlier conjecture that perhaps they passed away from carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, Santa Fe County Sheriff
So people are going to speculate until we get the ME report, and depending on the results of that autopsy ME report, there may still be speculation.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be speculation.
Yeah. He was 95 and she was 64. Holy cow. I
He was
needed to
95 and she was, wait. 95 and 64.
Yeah.
And they've
So
been
if
married
they got
since the
together in
90s. So
she was
how,
just a young thing.
yeah, I'm thinking that, dude. I'm like, how young was she when she married him? But okay. He
So
always looked darn good for his age, though.
He did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he always had that like receding hairline, but it never changed. Like that receding hairline was in the same place like for 30 years.
Yeah.
From the time he played Lex Luthor till he was.
I always thought he was a good actor. I mean, I did. I enjoyed his movies.
I did too. I'm a huge Western movie fan.
Mm-hmm.
And, so John Wayne is one of my favorite actors. Rio Lobo, Rio Bravo, Sons of Katie Elder, like Rooster Cogburn. All those are like some of my favorite movies.
My grandpa taught me well.
He was in 2 of my favorite Western movies of all time, The Quick and the Dead, with Sharon Stone and Leonardo DiCaprio and Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
He plays a really good Western villain.
Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah. My grandfather was a huge John Wayne fan, always watching I called them the cowboy movies, right? The cowboy shows. So I was a little girl and I would be in like 1st grade and I would check out library books about cowboys and Westerns and come home and read them to my grandfather. And that's what I would check out because I knew he liked them and we'd read them together. So he taught me the love of a good Western.
Mm-hmm. And Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour were 2 of my favorite authors. Those Louis L'Amour westerns are like crazy. But the other movie that I love Gene Hackman in, where he also played a villain, was Unforgiven with Clint
Oh,
Eastwood
that was
and
one of the
Morgan
best
Freeman.
movies, wasn't it?
It was. Yes, it was.
So awesome. Yeah, it was. I think that's probably the best. Maybe.
Mendoza confirmed with Fox News Digital separately that the gas company and fire department additionally responded to make sure there were no toxic fumes that would endanger the deputies during their search. And the New Mexico.
Right. They wanted to confirm there were no toxic fumes that would endanger the deputies. So when you're an emergency responder, police are the first ones in, and then you have fire and medics that come in. And the first thing that fire and medics ask the police is the scene safe? So they needed to confirm before the fire and medics got in there, and then eventually the coroner, is the scene safe? Are there unsafe fumes for us to go in there?
New Mexico Gas Company is working with the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department in this investigation. During their initial investigation, the sheriff did not discover any visible trauma on Hackman or his wife and said they could have been victims of a double homicide, suicide, accidental death, or natural causes. Hackman was not.
So it's wide open, and we may not know when we get the autopsy, and we may find out more interesting stuff. Who knows?
95 years old at the time of his death, his wife 63. The office confirmed that the cause of death has not been determined as of yet, and the investigation is still ongoing. Sheriff Mendoza telling Fox News Digital that an autopsy is scheduled for today. So the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office telling Fox News Digital, quote, on February 26 at approximately 1:45 p.m. local time, Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to an address on Old Sunset Trail in Hyde Park, where Gene Hackman, 95, and his wife, Betsy, 64, and a dog were found deceased.
Oh, crap. No, go back. Dang it.
In both hands and feet. A deceased dog was also found near her body, and confirmed with Fox News Digital separately that the gas company and fire department working with the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department in this investigation, homicide, suicide, accidental death. Sorry, guys. That an autopsy is scheduled for today. So the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office telling Fox News Digital, quote, on February 26 at approximately were found deceased.
So the thing that throws a wrench in the works to me is the dog also being deceased. Like, why is the dog dead? And that's probably why people are going the route of the gas fumes, carbon monoxide poisoning, something like that. Like, why is the dog deceased? So
someone in the comments section had a good comment about that. If it was in a crate or kennel, did it have access to food and water? Maybe the other dogs were able to scavenge around, because dogs aren't going to starve if they can access something. So I don't know. I don't know if it was in a kennel or not, but that's just the
has
thought.
got to be a horrible way for a dog to die. Oh my God.
Yeah, Pokemon says dog was stuck in kennels, so he didn't have access to food and water the way the other two were apparently able to get find something.
If you can roam the property, or if you can get outside the property, dogs will revert and
exactly
find something. But dang it, the kennel, once it's gone, it's gone.
Exactly.
So heartbreaking.
I know. Especially to all of us animal lovers, we're like, no.
Yeah.
Breaking news update, as now investigators deem the deaths of both Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife as suspicious,
my first memory
saying that both.
Superman.
richest, most populous state in the Union.
I don't need a geography lesson from you.
I'm going to get copyrighted for this. I know
Oh,
I
yes,
am,
of
but
course,
I
you've
don't
been
care.
there. I do forget you. Get around, don't you? Where was I? California. California.
Don't do it to
Ned
the extent
Beatty.
you get a strike.
I don't care. Gene Hackman is one of my favorite actors. Ned
Listen.
Beatty here, Christopher Reeve. Oh my gosh.
3 strikes, you're out.
Yes, it's the joining together of two landmasses. The fault line is unstable and shifting, which is why you get earthquakes in California from time to time.
Wonderful. Couldn't have said it better myself. Everything west of this line is the richest, most expensive real estate in the world. San Diego.
So his plan is to hijack nuclear missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and throw them into the San Andreas Fault and send California sliding into the Pacific Ocean. And all the real estate east of that fault is going to become super, super valuable. Just, oh my gosh, it's so funny. I'm not going to play any more of that just because you can go back and watch the movie. It was a classic movie for me. Superman 1, 2, and 3. They were all classic movies for me when I was a kid. But when I became an adult, the Westerns were the movies for me. And in the late 80s, when I was in high school, they produced a movie called Hoosiers. And if you do any research, you'll see that Gene Hackman actually hated this movie. I don't know why exactly he hated it, but he hated it. But he played a coach in Hoosiers that is kind of the coach that I wanted to become. Not 100%, because there were some things that I was like, I don't want to be like that. But I coached basketball from the time my boys were wee little boys. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, all the way through second grade or seventh grade, eighth grade. I coached them in basketball. And I actually ran the elementary school basketball program. And some of these things that he uses here were actually very fundamental Hoosier basketball things. And whoever wrote this movie was amazing. But a lot of the movie Hoosiers was filmed in Richmond, Indiana, which is in the county south of Lafayette. So we know about Delphi. Delphi is in Carroll County, which is the county north of Lafayette. Hoosiers was filmed in Montgomery County, which is the county south of Tippecanoe County. So they're not that far apart. But I've got a couple of scenes here that I'm going to play just because I love these scenes in the movie Hoosiers. They're classic for me. They're classics.
See what kind of hand I've been dealt here. 7 players, that it?
6.
So a couple of things that are noteworthy in this scene. First of all, you have a little shrimp kid and all the other basketball players that are like 6, 8, 10 inches taller than him, like won't acknowledge him as a basketball player. And he actually hits a free throw in one of the playoff games that helps win them the game. But he doesn't discount him as the coach, but he also doesn't put up with crap with a couple of guys who think, or with a guy who thinks he's one of the star players. And that's something that I also subscribe to. So when I ran the elementary school program, or when I took it over, it was the kids who were the best players got the basketball 90% of the time. And I changed the program so that the kids who were middling and less than middling would get equal playing time and would get equal contact with the basketball if they had decent coaches. Because I can't coach every team, but I can run the program, and I can say that every single player needs to have equal playing time, and I did that.
I don't count.
Why is that?
Too short. I'm not no good. Sit for practice to be a body. Equipment management's my trade.
I thought everybody in Indiana played basketball.
Sir, most do, but not all go out for the team. We only got 64 boys in the whole school.
It's gonna be a lonely bench. Well, those of you who don't know, my name is Norman Dale. I coached college ball for 10 years, but it's been 12 years since I've blown this. So I'm gonna be learning from you just like you learned from me. I'm gonna be setting up practice a little bit differently than you used to, but as you'll find out, everything has its reasons. Basketball is a voluntary activity. It's not a requirement. Any of you feel you don't want to be on a team, feel free to leave right now. Did you hear what I said?
Me?
Yes, you.
Sure, I'm just curious to know when we start.
We start when I say so.
Okay, would you kind of let me know, because I'm kind of getting
All
tired
right,
of standing.
out of here, right now.
You kicking me out?
Yes, don't come back until you learn to keep your mouth shut and listen.
Did you see that other player go like, oh, shit, I've never heard that before from a coach? Because most coaches will let the star players run the team. Like 75% of coaches will be like, all right, you know what? You guys just go out and do your thing. I'll try and like draw up some plays and stuff. But he's like, nope, I'm in charge of this team.
Break my heart. Come on, Whit, let's fly this chicken coop. Didn't you say you'd rather be down at Terhune anyway?
It's your funeral.
Let's move it, Gizzard. I ain't no gizzard. Have fun, Coach, trying to win with 5.
Next scene. I'll get copyright struck for this too. So this is the star player of the team. Just hit a shot. Coach is like, that's not what I wanted you to do. They're down by 10.
Ray! Pass the ball!
Pass the ball. Does he pass the ball? Nope. He shoots. He scores.
Ollie, going for Ray.
Coach just told the star player to pass the ball, and he shot it instead of passing it. Coach calls on the weakest member of the team to go in for the star player of the team. I love this. I love it.
Now, move! Come on.
All right, they only have 6. Number 12 just fouled out.
Where you going? In the game. Sit down. What do you mean? You gotta have 5 out there.
Fancy swish suits.
Sit down. Sit.
Coach says, we're playing with 4. He doesn't get to go in.
Coach, need one more. My team's on the floor.
All right. That's enough of that.
We are hearing from residents in Orange.
All right. Sorry, guys. That's my little Hoosiers side note there. Fancy swish suits. Come on. They still wear those. They still wear those in Indiana.
Oh, goodness.
Oh. So. I'm going to stop that for just a second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I just, we glad when they get to the cause of their deaths, so they can, hopefully they're resting easy now, whatever happens,
Yeah. And yeah, the fact that they were mummified and that nobody found them for, it's got to take at least a month for mummification in New Mexico, right? Like nobody found them for at least a month.
I don't know
That's
where do their children live in Santa Barbara with them? Did they live out of state? Were they out of the country? Because I'm with you. If I don't hear from my dad, he's the only parent I have left. If I don't hear from my dad, which he can't hear us right now, we can only text. But I call my sister. I call my brother. My other brother lives right next door to my dad. We're checking. Yeah, I couldn't imagine going long without making contact with my parent
yeah.
or speaking to him on a regular basis. Even if my dad can't hear, I still text him, hey, I love you. How you doing? And he'll text back eventually. If he doesn't, I call one of my siblings.
Yeah, and my dad's like that too. Like my dad, especially originally with cell phones, he was not a
Hmm.
texter. Like he adamantly refused to text on the phone. He's like, if you want to contact me, you'll call me on the phone. But he actually texts on a regular basis now, and I like it. I like it because it's much more consistent communication.
Yeah.
So I had this story pop up in my feed the other day about an accused killer in Orange County, Florida. That's Orlando. And I had to do some digging into it. So I'm going to take you all to where I was when I first saw the article. And then we're going to go back in time and come forward in time. And I got some documents from the Orange County clerk of the court. And some of these details are really disturbing. I need to put up my banner, don't I? Dang it.
Yes, sir.
Where's my
You'll get
banner?
the hang of it eventually, because I'm not always going to remember to.
Right. Here we go. Graphic content warning and trigger warning. This is a really disturbing case. So remember back last July, in this case that he's being accused of now actually happened on July 4th. But last July, especially the end of July, we were concentrating on Abby and Libby, and I don't remember seeing this case or hearing this case. So when it came up that he was actually found competent a month ago to stand trial, it was news to me that anything had even happened like this. So let's take a look at that article. Let's do this one first. I couldn't find a video that was not on YouTube or that was on YouTube. So I have to play this separately in the West 2. And then we can go into the other videos associated with this case.
New at 10, according to court, the man accused of killing this 13-year-old girl in Orange County is competent to stand trial. Investigators say Jerry Dorsme followed Rose DeJoux through an apartment complex on the 4th of July on South Rio Grande Avenue, sexually assaulted her, and stabbed her to death. One doctor said Dorsme is incompetent, but a second disagreed.
So that's interesting to me, first of all, that one doctor found him competent and one didn't. So they went with he is competent. But this guy is something else, and we'll dig into that a little bit. The judge ruled in the favor of him being competent to stand trial, and competency just means he can assist in his defense. And her name is Rose DeJoux. She's from Haiti. She was 13 years old when she was SA'd and unalived. And we're going to check out details of that here in a little bit. So trigger warning, graphic content warning, all of those things. He followed her through an apartment complex on South Rio Grande and then stabbed her to death with a knife that he had bought shortly before that. She was going from her house to a friend's house. And did he target her? Was it an opportunistic crime? But she was found inside a utility closet, partially clothed and barely alive, rushed to the hospital, later died. So she was still alive when she was found by family members, and they actually performed CPR on her. And we're going to see some of that in a video in a second. This is a tough case. It's a tough case. But I think the relevance for me is the fact that it's got to be a failing of the system, because that wasn't the first time he had done something and was proven to be a predator in a previous case in 2020. I got those records too. So let's go to the first video of the news articles when she was first found, and the police let out video so they could figure out who this guy might have been, this person of interest.
Orange County, who say they have seen this man before. He's a person of interest in a 13-year-old girl's murder, and deputies are asking for help in tracking him down. Fox 35's Manny Martinez is live at the Orange County Sheriff's Office now. So Manny, some folks told you that they had seen him walking around before.
Yeah, Hannah, and they say that they have at times been face to.
So local residents had seen him out walking before. So he was living somewhere around the area, and he was around and about the area. Was he checking things out? Was he an opportunist? Was he looking for a victim?
Face to face with him when he'd either ask them for some food, sometimes even ask for $1, and that these encounters were at times quite regular. But one man we spoke with says he hasn't seen our prime suspect in this case, or person of interest in this case, in at least a week.
Take a good look and then look again. This is the person of interest deputies are searching for in a young girl's murder. The Orange County Sheriff's Office released this surveillance video showing the man walking around the Palmetto at Lakeside Apartments.
He used to come and ask for food, but I didn't know if he can do that.
He used to ask every person he can find for $1. So when I seen this, I was so afraid, I was so curious because, I have a little girl too.
It's been nearly 1 week since 13-year-old Rose DeJuste died shortly after she was found with what the sheriff's office calls obvious signs of trauma. This other surveillance video clip shows the man walking out of the complex. In both videos, he's carrying a bag.
I think
Was he homeless? I mean, he's kind of panhandling like he's homeless, but I don't think that he's necessarily dressed like he's homeless. And we'll see later on in court records that he had a probation violation because he didn't register his change of address with his PO. So I honestly don't know if he was quote unquote homeless, but he doesn't strike me as homeless, but maybe he was.
if I see him coming, I will just go back because I don't want to meet him face to face anymore.
Around 5 Wednesday evening, we saw an all-out investigative blitz. Dozens of deputies at the apartment complex. They were circling in their cars, on foot, and also stationed behind some businesses several hundred yards away. Deputies didn't share a name for the man they're looking for. Scared neighbors didn't know it either.
My little girl is 10 years old, so that's very, 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 very close to me. Such persons should not be on the street.
And just want to be absolutely clear, misspoke at the beginning here. This man is a person of interest, not a suspect at this point. Crime Line is offering a $5,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Tips can be.
Did you see him pull up his pants there as he's leaving that apartment complex where she was found? He's pulling up his pants.
made anonymously. Live in Orange County tonight, Manny Martinez, Fox 35 News.
Manny, thank you. Developing now an arrest following the murder.
All right, so we'll go on to the next video. But they put out that video and they got tips from callers who saw that video and tuned them in and made an arrest. So we're going to watch this. How long is this video? It's not very long. Oh yeah, 2 minutes. We're going to go ahead and watch this video about his arrest, but then we're going to go in and take a look at his arrest warrant and his PCA, because it's got some very disturbing things, and it's got one interesting thing of note to me.
Murder of a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, this video just in showing Orange County deputies escorting the suspect to jail. In just hours, we're expecting to get an update on the case from the sheriff. News 6's Mark Lehman is following the latest developments in it and is live at the jail now in Orange County. And Mark, this suspect has a record.
Listen to this. This suspect has a record, and Mark Lehman, or Lehman, however you pronounce it, has done some research, but he hasn't done as much research as I've done. So he says something about his previous record, but we're going to look deeper into it after this.
Yeah, I've been looking through court records and found in 2018 and 2019, Jerry Durisme was arrested on domestic violence charges. Now, in both cases, those charges were dropped by then State Attorney Aramis Ayala. Now, he was also convicted in 2021 for aggravated child abuse. Now he finds himself.
2021 aggravated child abuse goes way deeper than that. That's what the plea agreement was for, but the original charges were not just for quote unquote aggravated child abuse. And I have the documents for that too, and they're disturbing. And the fact that he was out on probation from those charges is even more disturbing.
Himself back here in the Orange County Jail, but this time it's on charges of murder. The Orange County Sheriff's Office releasing this video of deputies escorting Jerry Durisme to jail last night. The 28-year-old is facing a charge of first-degree murder in the killing of 13-year-old Rose DeJuste. Investigators still haven't said how she died, only telling us the teen was found with, quote, obvious signs of trauma July 4th at the Palmetto at Lakeside Apartments off South Rio Grande Avenue. Durisme's arrest comes a day after deputies released this video of who they called a...
That may be video of him walking out immediately after he did the thing. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it is. Like, let's back up like 10 seconds and he comes out of that. She was found in a utility closet under a stairwell in these apartments.
Deputies released this video of who they called a person of interest in the murder. It shows a man walking around the same complex while carrying a bag. Detectives haven't specifically identified Durisme as the man in the clips, but the sheriff's office says the arrest was made through hard work of investigators and with the help from community members who called in tips after seeing the video they released. Now, what's unknown at this point is if Durisme had any relationship with the victim or her family. That's something we're expecting to learn later this morning when Orange County Sheriff John Mina holds a press conference. That is set for 10 a.m. We'll be there and keep you updated with what we learn. For now, reporting live in Orange County, Mark Lehman, Getting Results, News 6.
Mark.
All right, so I'm going to unshare that video before we go to the next one. Salty, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, it's crazy. People harming children. Like, what the hell's wrong with people, you know?
And it's in Orange County, not very far from where Maddie was unalived.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, keep harming kids in Florida. They're going to F around and find out.
So this is the arrest warrant, July 11th, 2024. So exactly a week after she was unalived. I don't know that there's anything all that informative in this. Look at the narrative right here. Deputy Etienne responded to assist Orange County homicide detectives in reference to a subject with a warrant out of Orange County. So they already had the warrant before they arrested him. So this is just more or less an arrest report. So here is the actual probable cause affidavit for his arrest. Height 5'8", weight 250, black hair. I don't think he had any hair. Anyway, brown eyes. The affiant is Anthony Ventieri, sworn deputy sheriff with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. On July 4th, 2024. So this is when she was unalived. At approximately 14:25 hours, Sector 4 deputies responded to reference to a man down call. Upon arrival, deputies located a 13-year-old black female victim who was partially naked and had been stabbed. Orange County FRD transported the female to Orange something, a hospital, obviously, where she was pronounced deceased at 15:14 hours. On-call homicide was notified and detectives responded to the scene to continue the investigation. Upon arrival, detectives conducted numerous interviews. The victim's brother stated he was told by his sister's friend that her shoes and cell phone were on the stairs leading up to her apartment in the building, but she was nowhere to be found. So if she was in a utility closet under the stairs, that means he snatched her off of the stairs and drug her back down, and her shoes and cell phone were left there on the stairs where he snatched her. His cousin went back to the building where somebody resides and began knocking on doors to see if anyone had seen her. He opened a utility closet door under the stairs and saw his sister lying on the ground unresponsive. He pulled her out of the closet and began CPR until the fire department arrived. This is major trigger warning, people. This is disturbing. Somebody else was also interviewed by detectives and stated that she did not know the victim was coming to her apartment until she walked out and saw her shoes and cell phone on the stairs. She determined it was the victim's property on the stairs when she observed the picture of the victim's brother on the lock screen. When she did not see the victim and observed a small amount of blood at the bottom of the stairs. Oh my gosh. He didn't just snatch her on the stairs. He attacked her on the stairs. And we're going to see in a minute that there was a knife involved, and they actually have video footage of him purchasing the knife that he used in this. She became worried and went to somebody's apartment to see if she was there. Her father, brother, and cousin were also interviewed to say they were walking back into their building, which was the crime scene, and saw an unknown heavyset black male walking out of the stairwell area of the building. They did not know the male and stated that he did not live in the building, as only the top two apartments were occupied by them and another family they knew. When the father saw the victim's shoes and cell phone, he went back outside, but the subject was already gone. I think that's the video we just saw. They provided a description of the person's clothing as potentially a gray shirt and long pants with a bag, but indicated they cannot fully identify him. Forensics responded and processed the scene with digital photographs and scans. They collected blood swabs and earring, the victims, indicating a potential SA. The victim was found clothed in a knitted dress. Furthermore, detectives discovered a large kitchen knife plastic package used to secure the blade of a knife when on the rack at the store. The package was collected by CSI. So he bought the knife off of the rack at the store and went straight out and did this? That's insane. Surveillance footage was obtained. During the review of the footage, they saw the family leaving the complex, going to the gas station to get beer. Short time later, they observed returning and entering the complex and walking towards their apartment when they passed the unknown heavyset male. After losing sight of the three family members, I continued to watch the cameras at the entrance in hopes of locating a person matching the heavyset male's description. Within minutes of the three of them entering the property, I observed a heavyset male walking out from the direction of where the crime scene was located and walking off the property. The male was heavyset, wearing grayish or reddish shirt, khaki pants, carrying a bag. He was observed adjusting his pants. That's what I noticed too. A few times and walking off the property quickly. Video surveillance from the complex was backtracked to earlier in the day. The same individual was observed entering the complex from the shopping plaza across the street. He is seen walking into the north side of the complex, where he remains for an hour off camera. Approximately an hour later, he returns in view of the camera near the pool area and walks to the building south of the pool. This guy is a predator. Like, he's out there hunting, stalking his prey. This guy is sick. Approximately 5 minutes later, cameras capture our victim walking from the area of her apartment building along the south side of the leasing office pool area, heading to her friend's apartment. As soon as she enters the parking lot behind the pool, the same heavyset male walks out from the side behind the building and quickly follows her towards the crime scene off camera. When he comes from behind the building, he picks up his pace of walking to close the gap behind her, and as she turns left southbound, he turns with her out of view of the camera. I think we're going to see some documents later that show that he was somewhere near the area, but he was frequently seen in this area near these apartments. I don't know if he lived near them at them, but he was frequently seen near this area in the days, weeks, months, maybe leading up to this. He showed the camera footage to family members. They immediately identified, based on clothing, body, and face type, as the person they observed. It should be noted at the top here that the family indicated when they left their apartment to get the beer, there were no shoes or phone on the staircase. When they returned less than 15 minutes later, the phone and the shoes were there. Surveillance footage from the shopping plaza across the street shows the heavyset male. Detectives were able to determine that this male entered the store and observed that they had a small kitchen utensil appliance area that contained multiple styles of kitchen knives. In the section, they located a knife contained within the same type of packaging that was located on scene next to the victim. Comparisons were done with the package from the scene and the package in the store and found to be the exact same ones, to include the orange price tag manually added to the back of the package by employees of the store. He went right before this to go buy a knife and then he trailed her, stalked her to the scene of the crime. Detectives released the photo. Multiple people identified him. All right. So here is the important part. I mean, not that anything that we just went through was not important, but do you see this red box that he put on this PDF? It should be noted that Jerry had a prior charge for lewd and lascivious. I don't think we can say that on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. On a child from 2020. He had a
Essay on a child. Just say it like that.
okay. Lewd and lascivious on a child from 2020. I go into that a little bit too. But let's take a look at the press conference after they arrested him. See the detective talk, or the sheriff's office talk a little bit about it. This is just so disturbing, and it's going to get more disturbing. All right, so this is the end of the last video we watched, and we'll go to the press conference next.
Heartbroken and grief-stricken. That is the state of a local family tonight after a life was taken too soon.
13-year-old Rose DeJesus was murdered July 4th. A man has been charged with her murder. And tonight, West 2's Gail Pascal Brown talked with the victim's family.
Rose DeJesus has only been in the States for less than a year. Her family is from Haiti, and she lived here with her father, her brother, her cousin, and his friend. They are all grieving right now. Investigators say she was murdered in her own complex by a stranger.
I'm feeling I can't really.
Okay, so I lied. The press conference is next. This is her family. This is actually her cousin that found her and did CPR on her. This is her cousin that found her. And we know that a kitchen knife was involved in the attack, so can only imagine. But they're from Haiti. The family is from Haiti. I don't know how long all of them have been here, but they said that she has been here a little over a year.
There's no explanation for it. It's just hurt like crazy.
The family of 13-year-old Rose DeJesus is devastated. Her partially naked and stabbed body was found July 4th at Palmetto at Lakeside Apartments on South Rio Grande Avenue in Orlando near Holden Avenue. Her brother and her cousin, Dupierre Collett, found her in a storage room underneath the stairs. She was supposed to have been at a friend's in the same complex.
We saw the phone and the sandal right there on the stairs, and there was blood on the floor.
Her cousin says Rose's brother started knocking on doors looking for Rose, then opened the storage room under the stairs.
We called the cop. They said, pull her out. We pull her out and start CPR, and still there's no responding from her.
So they did CPR, and she actually was still barely alive when they found her in the closet. And she didn't actually completely pass away until they got her to the hospital and couldn't resuscitate her fully. So, but this is her cousin.
Rose's mother is still in Haiti, but
the whole time she was on the phone with us, and then she heard everything, heard that Rose was died. We found her dead, laying down, butt naked, and we can hear it. She dropped the phone and started running, go crazy all over the place.
Rose died at the hospital. 28.
What a beautiful little girl. And next we're going to see the horrible monster.
At the hospital, 28-year-old Jerry Dorisme is facing first-degree murder. He was taken to jail 1 week after he allegedly stabbed her to death.
I'm glad they got him, but I'll be happier if I was the one found him.
What do you think would have happened then? That's such a genuine response. I like this guy.
Actually,
he says he and Rose were close. He helped her with homework, even taught her how to play basketball. Rose attended Memorial Middle School.
She just loved school. She's lovely. Like, She's playful, like friendly, everything. She's just lovely. She's just perfect.
Now, Rose.
I love when the family members get interviewed because they help you to see the best of the victims and to bring the victims' memories out. You know, I love that. Yeah, just a baby.
Rose's family is having to prepare for her funeral. They've set up a GoFundMe. Go to wesh.com for more information.
All right, so I think the next one is the press conference, I think. Yes, we're going to the presser with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And this is a little longer video, so I may like skip through parts of it, but I think there are parts of it that are important to us going back in time to look into his record and what happened back in 2020 and what were the charges from 2020, what was his sentence, and what was his status from 2020 here in July 4th of 2024.
In the apartment complex where she lived, when deputies rose in that closet, attempted CPR and first aid on her, and she was unresponsive. From the beginning of this, very cooperative and offered a lot of information. A witness at the complex reported seeing a heavyset male leaving the building where Rose was found. Video from the complex showed a person we now know to be Doris May following at a distance behind Rose as she walked through the complex to her friend's building. At the murder scene,
he doesn't look homeless to me. I mean, homeless people have a hard time keeping their clothes clean, like they don't have money to go to the laundry, and his white pants are white, clean white pants. So, I mean, he doesn't seem homeless to me, but he was always panhandling, according to the local residents, asking people for $1, asking people for this or that. So was that panhandling because he didn't have a job and he really did need help with money, but he had enough money to pay for his rent and cleaning his clothes? Or was it a ruse to like target people and hunt people and stalk people?
scene, detectives found the packaging of a 12-inch knife believed to be the murder weapon. So an extensive canvass of the area uncovered video from a store nearby that showed Dorisby buying that same kitchen knife from the store, the one which was used in the murder. So I want to thank our hardworking detectives who worked tirelessly on this case around the clock. And I want to thank our crime scene investigators and forensics unit for their hard work in the case. We also want to thank our partners at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement who are testing a significant amount of evidence as we still investigate this case. And we want to thank the community. We received many, many tips from the community that helped us lead us to him. And so you've heard me say before that law enforcement, we cannot do it alone. We need the community's help, and this case proves just that. The community really came through, media really came through for us, putting his picture out there, which ultimately led to his arrest.
So that's a pretty important part to me. So they put his video out there, they put his picture out there, they put it out to the media, and it seems to me like in this case, the tips actually led to his arrest. So, I mean, that also happened with Maddie, with Madeline Soto. I mean, they put out the pictures and somebody turned in a tip, and that's how they eventually found her. So,
And it didn't take long. Once that guy realized he saw him out there changing that tire, he could pinpoint right where he was at and what time frame. And that led them right to her. So, it always, you never know who's going to see the tips, or see these things and realize they have a tip, a valid tip, it's important to call those in for sure.
Yeah. Kudos to the citizens in Orange County.
Yeah.
You've helped lead, you sent in 2 tips at least in 2024 that led to 2 horrible monsters being apprehended.
So Rose, as you can see, is a beautiful young woman. She should not have died this way. And my heart aches for her family and her friends.
I'm just going to leave this up here for an extra second or two, just because this is for the victims. Like yeah. Rest in peace, Rose.
Friends and our loved ones. But what we can do now is, provide justice for this family moving forward. So with that, I will take any questions. Yes. Yes, he does. So he had been arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior on a child. That case was ultimately dropped to child abuse. I'm not sure what time or how much time he served, but he does have a history. Our deputies have come in contact with him recently. We were called about a man walking down the street with a knife. Our deputies were able to de-escalate that situation, have him drop the knife, but he ended up punching 3 of our deputies. He was ultimately Baker acted as a result of that incident.
Salty, can you explain Baker acted to us?
Yeah. It's in Florida, it's a 3-day hold if you are a threat to the public or law enforcement, but not a family can also Baker act someone. Like if they arrive and they say, and my family member needs, an evaluation, or they're having a hard time, they can Baker act them. But it's a 3-day hold in Florida, like a mental health evaluation you go through. And then they release you, but you'll start, then your court stuff will proceed. But that's what a Baker Act is in Florida. So automatic Baker Act for 3 days.
So 72 hours for mental health evaluation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's used a lot here in Florida.
For any indication that he knew Rose prior to this, was this completely random? Had he been watching her?
So he did not know her, but he used to live in that area. He's very familiar with that area.
He used to live in that area. All right, that's an important answer right there. He did not know her. It's interesting to me that he is definitively answering that question. Like, did he know her or not? And he definitively says, no, he did not know her, but he did used to live in that area.
He has frequented that area. And according to people in that area, he has been seen watching, girls in that area. So they were definitely.
What?
He was comfortable with that area, and he was looking for a crime of opportunity and the perfect victim in his mind.
And people that they interviewed said that he was seen watching girls in that area.
And did nothing.
And when we get in
I'm sorry. Did they ever call that in to, flag down the sheriff or deputy and say, hey, this weird guy is watching girls?
He had some domestic violence complaints that were dismissed back before 2020, but the 2020 child abuse charges I want to get into right after this. So it's a very relevant question, but the DV charges from before the 2020 child abuse thing were dismissed for some reason or another.
We're definitely concerned about him, but that's, other than the lewd and lascivious conduct, and then the Baker Act a few weeks ago, that's been our only contact and knowledge about him.
Whoa, dude. Okay. Police officer speak. Other than the lewd and lascivious, other than, you don't think that matters in this case? That's been our only contact with him. You don't think that lewd? Okay. I got to get into the prior documents now. I got to go. I got to leave this guy because that's a little too Doug Cartery for me. We got to get into the prior charges
Dude, don't let Doug Carter take up space in your head. Not every case is not Delphi.
You are correct.
I think you have Delphi PTSD, man.
I absolutely do. I posted that on Twitter the other day
We
because
gotta help him, y'all. We gotta help him.
R&M
I've been
said
trying.
said something about Lesenby, and I was like, I got Lesenby PTSD. I totally have
Oh,
Lesenby
Lord.
PTSD.
It's detox from it like I'm doing for a while, man.
All right, so let's go back to 2020. Here we have an arrest warrant for this same bad guy, Jerry Lorison Durisme. Durisme, I don't know. I don't care. Here are the charges: lewd and lascivious molestation greater than or equal to 18, lewd or lascivious conduct by a person. Okay, so he's older than 18 and had lewd and lascivious behavior. I don't think that speaks to the age of his victim, because we'll find out later the age of the victim was not over the age of 18. Commit the above charge on April 25th, 2020 at approximately 12:02 hours, so just after midnight. Officer Picarillo and Welchak responded. On arriving, Officer Welchak was flagged down by a black male, later identified as Jerry Durisme, who is the suspect in this case, who stated he was stabbed. Durisme pointed north across the apartment complex at a black female wearing white pants and stated she was the subject who stabbed him. The officer and I walked through the apartment complex and made contact with the black female subject that Durisme pointed out. He was told to have a seat and she was told to have a seat and complied. Fire department responded to treat Durisme for his injuries sustained from being cut on his left elbow. Good for her. Maybe she should have done a little bit more. Did I say that out loud? I asked her what happened, and she verbally stated that she was inside her apartment when her father's roommate, who she positively identified as Jerry, began banging on her door trying to get inside. She stated she was afraid as her father was at work, and her and Durisme got into an earlier argument when police were notified, and her friend, redacted, her friend jumped off of the second-story balcony in fear of Durisme would make entry inside the apartment. Her friend jumped off of a second-story balcony to get away from this dude. She stated as something and her ran around to the front of the building. Durisme attacked her by punching her in the arm and chest. She stated she fell to the ground and Durisme was standing over the top of her, hitting her, and eventually he sat on her. She stated she was able to run from him, and as she was running, he threw a piece of a bed frame at her, hitting her on the left rib cage. She stated she got mad and grabbed something, ran over to him, and hit him with something, which she later admitted to cutting him with a piece of glass. She took off running back to apartment building 2982. Wow. Later, she stated Durisme has touched her several times over her clothes, on her breasts and buttocks, at least 4 times. Yes, I'm going to read this out loud. She also stated that Durisme has asked her several times to have sex with him several times. She stated all the incidents have happened with both her and Durisme's clothes on and whenever her father was at work. So when her father, he's her father's roommate and they're all living in the same apartment, but he's banging on the door. So maybe she has her own bedroom and her friend is over there visiting her and he starts banging on the door. He's like, I want to do this with you. And so roommate jumped off of the second-story balcony because she was scared of this dude. Anyway, she stated she told her father about the past incident of him touching her, but Durisme just said that she was lying. Jennifer, oh, they redacted everything else, but then they put her name right there. Come on, people, we can do better. She had an audio recording of Durisme asking her to have sex with him. And then the fire department says, I contacted the father who was at work and asked him to come home. We responded to the residents and told them about the incident. Durisme to call police, prepared a sworn written statement, but will need to be translated in Creole. Okay, so Creole is the native Haitian language. And if you have a Haitian population in your area, you do need a Creole translator. Sergeant White responded to the scene to assist. Somebody stated to Sergeant White that Durisme was walking away from her. Oh, she stated to Sergeant White that Durisme was walking away from her and she was mad. She also stated she walked up to Durisme trying to hit him when Durisme grabbed her and she cut him with a pocket knife. Officer Wolzak spoke to a witness who wanted to remain anonymous, who stated she saw a black male walking towards her apartment when a black female ran up to him and cut him. When the statement stated she did not want to provide a written statement. Detective Luker, I spoke with her. She provided a verbal statement corroborating, this is a secondary witness who corroborated the victim's statement, except the part where she said she walked up to Durisme and cut him. They were walking when Durisme ran up to the victim and started grabbing and stated that was when she cut him. So there's a self-defense argument right there. Minor laceration. So the medic unit treated Durisme for minor laceration and released him. Detective Luker and I met with Durisme at ORMC, where Detective Luker conducted an interview. He stated post Miranda, so they Mirandized him. And Durisme stated, without being asked, that he did not have any relations with the victim, the redacted victim, because she was a minor. Durisme stated that she made advances towards him. Okay. And he only remembers hugging her. Durisme stated that he never asked her to have sex with him, and then later changed his statement to he asked her to have sex with him one time before he found out that she was a minor. Durisme stated she asked him to move out approximately a month ago, but did not explain why. He stated the following in a verbal statement. She asked him to smoke weed with her the night before, and this morning he stated that she asked him to borrow his headphones. He stated he did not respond, and she started throwing stuff at him this morning. He stated she would shoot him with her gun if she had one. He stated he was banging on the front door to get back inside after police left the first time. He stated she and somebody else ran around the apartment building and she threw a mug and rock at him. This is nuts, people. He stated she tried grabbing a metal bed rail, but he stopped her. He stated he bent over to grab the bed rail and he put his arm up, and that's when he was cut. He stated he never hit her with his hands nor threw the bed rail at her. Then we have crime scene technician processing the scene. DCS was called, or DCF. Is that what it is in Florida, Salty? DCF?
Yes, it is. Department of Children and Families.
Durisme's bag was placed in the property and evidence. I provided a victim's oh, good Lord. This officer provided a victim's right booklet for the victim. Once again, they don't redact. They put her name right there. At least it's just her first name, Jennifer, and not her last name. He was transported without incident. Probable cause. This is an important part. This is a very important part because we're going to get into more court documents after this. Probable cause was established to charge Dorisme with lewd and lascivious molestation, 18 VT 12-15, lewd and lascivious conduct by a person based on the victim stating that Dorisme had touched her several times on the breast and buttocks and that he asked her several times to have sex with him. He asked her several times. Dorisme also admitted post Miranda to being alone with her on several occasions, to hugging and to asking her to have sex with him. Before he knew she was a minor, probable cause was also established to charge Dorisme with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon based on him hitting her in the ribs with a metal pole that would cause death or permanent disfigurement. So that's the basis of the charges. That was that was a lot of information. And I guess when you hear those charges, what are your thoughts on, are those appropriate charges? Is grabbing a minor, a chest and buttocks, is that lewd or lascivious molestation?
In Florida, it is. When you, and it's not, the act of SA didn't occur like, you know, full on, you know what I'm saying? The R word, you know what I'm getting at? So touching and penetrating, I guess, are different. So lewd and lascivious acts in Florida are like that, like molesting. And then you get into harder charges if there was actual SA going on. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely does. So it seems like,
and it carries
based
its
on,
own set of you know, terms, and as far as, you know, what you can be sentenced to, it has its own sentencing guidelines.
yeah, right. This is lewd or lascivious. This is not SA. This is not charges of SA or R.
Right.
This is lewd or lascivious. So it has specific criminal penalties for engaging in that conduct and being convicted or pleading to being convicted of those charges. So here is the court filing on May 26th of 2020. So that was in April and this is in May. So they charged him with this. The state attorney of the Ninth Judicial Court, intent. So here we go. On the 25th day of April in the county and state, he did, in violation of Florida Statute 800.045C2, intentionally touch the victim, a person 12 years of age or older, but less than 16 years of age. You're going to tell me that you're the roommate of this chick's father and you don't know how old she is? For real? For real? So, yeah, there's I mean, he doesn't look like the brightest guy, but she's between 12 and 16. Anyway, and in furtherance thereof, he did touch her body parts and he was over the age of 18. He did intentionally touch her, a victim between 12 and 16 years old. So that's count 2. Count 3. He's over the age of 18 and he did touch her inappropriately. when she was between 12 and 16 years of age. Count 4. He did solicit a person under the age of 16. So he did ask her to engage in relations with him to commit a lewd or lascivious act. And he admitted to that after he was Mirandized. So they have this on record. So what happens with this court filing? What happens with the charges? Let's take a look at this. He enters into a plea agreement on,
I was about to say that's a plea agreement.
Yep.
In Florida. Yep.
That's the next year. That's almost exactly a year later. This is May 6th of 2021. So it took them a year for him to get through the court process with his probably court-appointed attorney, probably public defender, and they agreed to a plea agreement.
And you got to also realize Orange County is a very large county with a lot of cases. So it may take some time to move through the court system.
And they probably also have a lot of indigent personnel. People who can't afford their own attorneys.
Oh, yeah. They're very, very busy down there.
So we'll zoom in on this. In the Circuit Court of the 9th Judicial Circuit, and for Orange, Osceola County, Florida. So they combine Orange and Osceola into the 9th Judicial Court. Okay, anyway. State of Florida versus Jerry Durisme. Plea form. Count 1, guilty as charged for child abuse. So they went from lewd and lascivious conduct and what other... I had to go back. Solicitation for sex with a minor. And lewd and lascivious conduct. So multiple counts of lewd and lascivious, and then one of solicitation of a minor. He pled to child abuse. Degree felony 3. Maximum sentence 5 years. So he agreed to plea to child abuse, a level 3 felony with a 5-year maximum sentence. And by the way, okay, in part 2A here, they put the victim's name in there and they did not redact it. I redacted that myself. The prosecutor and I have agreed to the following: adjudication of guilt, 5 years, supervised probation, psychosexual evaluation, and any treatment related to the evaluation of his psychosexual tendencies. No contact with the victim. That's it. 5 years probation. No jail time, no prison time for his behavior with his roommate's minor daughter.
Nope. And now he is required now to register every time he moves somewhere. And if he doesn't and he gets caught, he's going right back to prison. But he'll have to register on the registry every time he moves somewhere. And I have it set up through the Florida Department of Law Enforcement website, and I can set the mile range. But anybody within a 5-mile radius moves in near me that is a SA offender, I'm going to know exactly where they're at. Florida law.
Not only does he have to register whenever he moves, he has to notify his probation officer for 5 years whenever he moves.
Yeah.
And guess
if
what?
you don't, they'll issue warrants.
What are we looking at here? There's a warrant.
Oh Lordy, he playing.
Within a month of that plea agreement, an arrest warrant is issued for him. So, violation of condition 1 by failing to report to the probation officer as directed, and that on May 14th, the offender was instructed to report to the probation office on June 7th. And as to the grounds for the belief the offender did not report to his PO, and then violation of condition 3 by changing his residence. So he moved. Like as soon as he got in this plea agreement, he moved. So he changed his residence. He didn't ask for permission to change it, and he didn't notify of his address. But violation of special condition 1 of the order of probation. This is, I'm down here now on the last one. By failing to undergo a psychosexual evaluation and as grounds for the belief that the offender violated his probation, the offender was instructed to enroll within 30 days for the evaluation. He didn't do it. He's like, I'm not doing that. So yeah, there was an arrest warrant issued for him. Here is that warrant, dated June 28th. So barely a month after he entered into this plea agreement, there's an arrest warrant. Narrative, June 28th at approximately 1100 hours, so 11 o'clock in the morning. You responded to a certain address in Orlando to assist with serving a warrant. A black male was arrested for an active Orange County warrant. My investigation revealed contact was made with Jerry Dorisme, who was already secured by responding. So he's had this way more than inappropriate, illegal, and disturbing contact with his roommate's minor daughter. He's been convicted of it. He failed to comply with the terms of the plea agreement. He gets arrested. It is the sentence of the court. That's the document we're looking at now. The defendant is hereby committed to the Department of Corrections to be imprisoned for a term of 366 days in the Florida Department of Corrections. So, all right, at least he's going to go to prison for a year, right? He's not going to jail. If it's more than a year, if it's a year or more, you go to a prison. You don't go to jail, like Sarah Boone got to do for like 5 years. She got to live in jail until now she's not. But so, I mean, a year, do we think that's just? Do we not think that's just? I mean, at least they're going to put him in jail, right? Or in prison? Let's look at this one.
What do they do with him?
So they modified it a month later. Sentence as to count 001, corrected as to time served. It is the sentence of the court that the defendant is hereby committed to the Department of Corrections for a term of 366 days. We saw that, but it is further ordered that the defendant shall be allowed a total of 333 days as credit for time served. He's going to prison or jail for 33 days because of time served. 33 days.
That's the norm in Florida. You'll get credit for your, like if you don't get to bail out and bond out or whatever, and you're in jail the entire time, that, and you've got good behavior, blah, 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 that will count towards your time, and they'll knock that off. You'll get so many time served. Mm-hmm.
Right, and prisoners should get credit for time served. Do they get double credit for good time served, like good behavior?
You can get time taken off for that, yeah. Yep.
So I wonder how much time he actually served. I mean, and I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either.
Let's undo that for a second. We're getting close to the end of this. It's just very, very disturbing to me.
Start with new questions and new details about the criminal past of the man charged with murdering a 13-year-old girl. Tonight, the sheriff says the teen was stabbed to death by a stranger who was following her. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Matt Austin. We also learned today that murder weapon was a 12-inch knife. Sheriff John Mina says 13-year-old Rose DeJuiced was walking from her apartment to visit a friend in the same complex when she was grabbed. Deputies found her half naked and barely alive inside a utility closet. That was back on the 4th of July at the complex along Rio Grande Avenue, just south of Texas Avenue near Pine Lock Elementary School. Rose sadly died at the hospital. Deputies now say their suspect was seen following Rose when they looked at surveillance video. Video they released earlier this week shows him walking through that same complex. They say tips from the video led them to arrest 28-year-old Jeremy Durisme. Now, we first told you about him last night at 11. Today, detectives revealed they also have video of him buying the murder weapon at a nearby store. Sheriff Mina says Durisme attacked another girl around the same age in the same area just a few years ago. News 6's Troy Campbell is digging into details of that arrest. He found several similarities.
So this reporter actually did a better job than the last reporter of researching this guy's history. So I have more respect for this reporter than the last guy, but it's what we've seen already. But I'm going to go ahead and play it because it's good information.
Take a look at this booking photo of Dorsey. This was taken on Thursday when he was arrested for murdering the 13-year-old girl. Now take a look at this photo. It was taken just a few years ago when he was released from a Florida prison after assaulting another girl in Orlando.
Court documents dating back to the afternoon of April 25th, 2020, alleging 28-year-old Jerry Dorsey sexually assaulted a girl between the ages of 12 and 15. Near the same location, 13-year-old Rose DeJuiced was killed.
He had been arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior on a child. That case was ultimately dropped to child abuse. I'm not sure what time or how much time he served, but he does have a history.
We took a deep dive into the case and uncovered when officers arrived to that incident. A teen girl was injured.
I like when reporters do deep dives. I like when I do deep dives too, and we come to the same conclusion.
Told them Dorsey began shouting and demanding to be let inside of the apartment, following a dispute Dorsey had with the girl's father. The girl claimed she had to jump off of a second-story balcony to escape him. But when she did, she said Dorsey began punching her in the arm and chest, stood over top of her, hitting her, and eventually sat on her, and threw a piece of bed frame at her in the left rib cage. After the girl grabbed a piece of glass to defend herself, Dorsey ran up to officers when they arrived, claiming the girl was who stabbed him. When officers spoke with the girl, she told them Dorsey had asked to have sexual relations, and he had touched her over her clothing. He was arrested on 3 counts of lewd or lascivious acts and child abuse, but took a plea deal, dropping it down to just 1 count for felony child abuse.
At the press conference, Mina also said he wasn't sure how long Dorsey spent in jail for that charge. Well, we took a look at the Florida Department of Corrections website, and we see he was sentenced to a year, but he served less than 1 month. He's
What? What? He served less than 1 month?
Time served. Remember?
Right, but I guess I'm not understanding if this reporter is claiming that he spent only 1 month total or 1 month after he was rebooked into jail for probation violation. That's I need to figure that out. So here's a question, Salty. So I requested body cam footage from the Orange County Sheriff's Office response to a missing girl that day and to her being found. And I can get that from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the body cam footage, but it's not cheap because nobody's requested before. They're going to charge me like basically 1 month's car payment to get the body cam footage. Do you think it would be worth it, or Is it just like
it's body cam footage of what?
of them responding to the scene of this crime? So there are like 366 minutes. So like, is that 6 hours? I think that's like 6 hours of body cam footage of the Orange County Sheriff's Office responding to the scene of this crime.
I wouldn't do it because that's just me financially. I'm like, nah,
Yeah. Yeah. What are we gonna like? What are we gonna find out from that body cam footage? Are we gonna find out anything significant?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, it's just, yeah. It was just a thought because I requested it from them through FOIA, and they're like, we haven't provided that to anybody yet, so you're going to have to pay for that to be downloaded into digital format. So
right. You have to, depending on the case, but I don't know if this one's worth it.
yeah, I think we already know who the bad guy is, and I think we already know what.
You save that money for other boots on the ground ventures.
All right, there we go.
1 month. He's now locked up without bond in Orange County. In Orlando, Troy Campbell, Getting Results News 6.
All right, Troy, thank you. The sheriff says they could not have made this arrest without the help of you, the community.
Yeah, they received a lot of tips about the suspect from that surveillance video you saw. It's why we often remind you to call Crime Line. That tip hotline has been getting results for decades now. All tips are anonymous and can lead to rewards.
As to Rose's family, a GoFundMe campaign is up to help with funeral expenses. It was shared by the sheriff's office. For details, look inside this story on the homepage of clickorlando.com.
Oops. All right. So the very last video I have on this is pieces of his police interrogation, and he did not say anything during his police interrogation. Like literally he said nothing, but I think some of the things that the detectives say to him are kind of important in this. Morning, Bright Wheel. Good to see you in here. This one's a tough case, but we're almost done. This is the last video that I have in this case. Portions of his police interview. I also requested that, and I didn't get that, but I requested it with a body cam. So they're probably thinking like, okay, if you pay for the body cam, we'll give you both of them. So maybe I should have requested the interrogation room video separately, but we see bits and pieces of it, but he doesn't say anything. It's just, we're listening to what the detective has to say to him. And the fact that he doesn't say anything in response to that speaks a lot.
Doris May. He is the man accused of killing 13-year-old Rose DeJoux back in July.
This comes just a few days after a judge determined Doris May is competent to stand trial. West 2's Haley Crumbleholm is live tonight. Haley, you've been sifting through hours of this new video.
Yeah, and in this video, we get to kind of take a look and hear some of what detectives claim, some of the evidence they claim they have that could connect Doris May to the crime. Now, what we don't get out of this video is anything from Doris May himself. From what we can tell, he doesn't say a single word in the nearly 2 hours and 40 minutes we have on video.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
This newly released 911 call from July 11th may have helped lead police to Jerry Dorisme, the man accused of killing 13-year-old Rose DeJoux last 4th of July.
Girl, have they caught the guy yet?
The caller reports she's seen a man that matches images shown on the news of a possible suspect and gives them the cross streets. The sheriff's office released body camera footage from the same day as the call, July 11th.
Did you see the bulletin? Which one? The homicide on Rio.
When deputies arrived, the body camera video shows they found Dorisme in a pool.
What's going on? I'll tell you this is her.
After they take Dorisme in, the last video shared by the sheriff's office shows the more than 2.5 hours Dorisme was in an interrogation room. From what we can tell, never saying a word.
We have people in the complex that saw you coming out of that area where we found you. Okay? We have video from the complex that shows you following to the building where she was killed.
Though Durisme doesn't respond, the detective lays out some of the evidence his office claims to have. He says the teen was killed with a knife and that across from the complex where she was killed on the very same day, Durisme bought one.
And we have video of you buying this knife.
Detectives even tell Durisme his own family told them he matched the photo of Deju's suspected killer seen in the complex.
And your dad told us this was you.
He says Durisme's dad took them to a bucket where Durisme kept clothes, and the detectives seemed to suggest the clothes they found matched the clothes their suspect was caught on camera wearing.
No question, Jerry, it was you. We have your clothes.
He's just sitting there not responding at all. He has no response. No response. There's no question it was you. We have your clothes. We have you buying the knife. We have you on video. We have people identifying you. There's no question that you were there. So I've seen so many police interrogation videos that this is highly unusual. It's highly unusual for them to share this much evidence with a suspect. Like usually they want the suspect to divulge something, but they're just trying to get some kind of reaction from him. And he's not reacting at all to any of this. This is highly unusual, but I mean, based on the fact that he's not responding at all, I think it's probably not a bad interrogation technique. Just try and shock him into something.
Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law.
Right, which is why if I was in that interrogation room, and I would be innocent because I wouldn't do what this monster did, but
No, I mean, I'm not a saying. I'm just saying.
yeah, no, I get it. That's we all know you don't say anything to them. You shut up and say, I want an attorney. I want a lawyer. We all know that. I want a lawyer. Innocent or guilty, I want a lawyer. Lawyer up. He didn't even say that. Like if he had said, I want a lawyer, like they couldn't even, I don't think they could do this. Like they couldn't, but I think they're just trying to shock him. They're like, we have mounds and mounds of evidence. What do you think about that? Just trying to get a reaction from him, and he has none. Do you call that cold-blooded? I think you would call that cold-blooded. I think so. Based on the crime and based on his response to police investigation after the crime, based on him walking away from the scene of the crime on video the way he was, I think you would call that cold-blooded and very disturbing.
We have you buying the knife. We have you on video. We have people identifying you. There's no question that you were there.
Now, state prosecutors did say in October that they plan to seek the death penalty in this case. Durisme is due back in court in April. Covering Orange County Live, Haley Crumbleholm, West 2 News.
Oh, where'd Salty go? Salty left me. She abandoned ship. Salty, no. But that was it. That was literally the end of this. This really disturbing case. So I'm going to try and find a Charlie video for you. Hopefully you guys can hear the audio this time. If you can't, then I'm going to have to figure something out, like maybe a different media player. But we have 45 seconds of Charlie video. There she is. You abandoned ship. You like jumped out.
No,
Oh,
my
boy.
son. My son just got a delivery and I went and got them off the porch. And then as soon as I did, he called, "Hey, will you go outside and get them?" Oh, I already beat you to it, son. I got them. He's a well, Walmart, Amazon, it don't matter. He'd be ordering freak. So what are we doing? Or okay.
We're done. We're going to play a video of Charlie. Hopefully you guys can hear the audio, because the audio like makes it better. And if you can't, then I'm going to have to figure out like a different media player or something for this format. But we got like 45 seconds of Charlie video to end the day, to bring us back to normal. Charlie, I miss you, buddy. Salty, thanks for being in here. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I know this was
Hang
a
on
tough
for
one.
1 second. Just like we're gonna go. Hold on a minute. Shoot.
right.
Hold on.
I'm holding on.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right. Do your thing.
All right, we're going to do our thing. Thanks everybody for hanging in. Salty, thank you for joining me. And
Take a look at chat on your way out.
yep, Charlie time. It is Charlie time. Hell, I don't even hear that. I don't hear any audio. Where's the audio? I don't even hear any audio on this.
You see my super sticker? It's for you and Charlie.
Salty. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Let's see.
They happen to have one with a salt shaker. I was like, I can't resist.
Where's chat? I gotta hit comments. Oh, there we go. Boom.
You guys hit the like button and we'll take a look. Who's the other dog there with Charlie?
So that's actually Penny. That's my sister's dog that she was training in SAR, that she unfortunately lost tragically a couple of years ago, and she was traumatized by that, like I was with Charlie. So that's Penny. That's Penny. She's a Carolina Plot Hound. Why don't I hear audio? Charlie getting smacked in the face by her tail. You don't need to hear the audio for this. It's okay. He's asking for breakfast. And that's Max, is on the left. He's my sister's black lab.
Check your chat again.
Oh, Sinead, thank you.
Keep it going, guys, and hit that like button too.
That's my BFF right there. All right. Peace out, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your Friday.
Have a good afternoon and rest of your Friday. Yeah, and have